The story begins with Akira, who is crying as he remembers the death of his parents. His friend tries to comfort him by hugging him, realizing how hard loneliness can be, but she is determined to soothe him. He wishes she wouldn't worry about him, but she reassures him that she will stay close until everything settles down, affirming that everyone will care for him and that he won't be alone. Years pass, and the events shift 9 years later, where AI technology has advanced significantly. A non-profit organization called the AI Victims Association is formed, gathering signatures for a petition to the government titled Regulate AI Applications. Over 50,000 people participated in protests in Chiyoda, leading to a police presence in the city. The scene changes to a group of people who lost their jobs because they couldn't use AI, feeling anxious that criminals using it aren't being caught. Then we see Toa asking people their opinions about AI, showing that it can identify, analyze, and self-organize data according to its settings, but people believe it lacks a sense of soul. It's pointed out that human souls are merely electrical signals emitted by the organs. Meanwhile, Akira is in his room dreaming of his close friend while hugging his pillow until the alarm rings, waking him up. He looks at his phone, where Toa's image pops up, someone he can't stop thinking about. Confused by his dream, he gets ready for school and asks his AI for the news, which presents a report about Toa, now 19, who has become the talk of the town and an impressive talent. He leaves his room to have breakfast with his adoptive father, just as Toa walks in, looking tired. She expresses admiration for his going to school, but he comments that she should study like everyone else. She explains that learning is no longer necessary for her as she's already mastered it, considering skipping grades and graduating early a logical choice. The narration dives into 10 years since Kazuyama Umati adopted him, and Toa feels it would be nice to prepare a surprise for him. She is introduced as an exceptional genius recognized worldwide, having earned multiple advanced academic degrees by the age of 18. She runs a company and works as a research consultant, having participated in developing most contemporary technologies. Akira knows that to be worthy of her, he needs to surpass being just family and get closer to her, but he doesn't know how. Memories of his past surface when he lost his parents at 7, after losing contact with relatives, remaining alone until a friend of his father's, Kazuyama, adopted him, saving him and Toa, and providing him with a new family. Yet, he doesn't want to always be seen as the little brother. Scenes shift to Toa overseeing the construction project of the largest bridge in the world, thanks to the AI she developed. After a meeting, she contemplates buying Akira a gift, but struggles to decide. While looking at his pictures, she realizes how much he has matured, and shuts down the AI system to think quietly. Just then, Akira suddenly enters. She invites him to dinner, where he finds the food delicious. They sit down, and when she asks what he'd like, he expresses a desire to cook this time, revealing he wants to try a new recipe. She attempts to prepare something for him, but he gently stops her, leaving her a bit disappointed. They later sit on the couch, watching troubling news about robotics. Various countries are demanding to halt the project, and a religious leader appears on the TV denouncing the idea of human-like robots, calling them an unacceptable threat, as having a complete mind and body makes them eerily similar to humans. Toa realizes something hidden is happening, recalling her father's previous concerns about secret conspiracies, wondering what she can do, knowing that the success of these efforts would greatly harm her work. Toa's father warned that the worst-case scenarios could lead to freezing her research, and Akira voiced his hope that wouldn't happen. Toa viewed human-like robots as inventions, bringing joy to people, and didn't understand the surrounding rejection. Her father told her to stay calm, and promised to contact analysts and employees to look into it. While Akira realized he was incapable of direct help in that moment, he returned to his room and asked his AI about the likelihood of Toa's project being cancelled, receiving a response that it was 82% likely, meaning what should have been completed in 5 years might now take 20. Toa's father reappeared, asking Akira to stay calm and be a reliable support. Akira decided to study daily despite the slim chances, focusing on a single goal, keeping Toa motivated, trying various ways to encourage her. Her father later explained that the chances of changing the situation were extremely slim, as rival companies voted against the project, claiming it contradicted church principles, making Toa's position weaker. After some time, Akira invited her to visit the zoo, and while she was lying on her bed asking her AI whether what was happening was fair, it advised her to stay calm, and suggested it was a good time to talk about her feelings, so she hurried to pick out her dress. The next day, they enjoyed their time at the zoo and watched a movie. In the evening, Akira took her to a massage parlor, where she felt deeply relaxed. They met afterward, exchanged words, and then he gifted her something he made using robotics, which filled her with joy. He admitted he constantly studied her artificial systems to help her, which moved her, as he didn't want to always be seen as her little brother. Her face flushed, but she changed the subject and praised the small dog he created, which he noticed but chose to remain silent about. On the way back, she asked if he wanted a short tour, and as they walked, she remembered that the next day would mark 10 years since they had been living together, but the conversation didn't continue. Later, she presented him with a gift, a 3D photo album, and he was delighted as he flipped through through the pictures. Yet she returned to their earlier subject, deciding to bring it up again, explaining that she had always wanted to move their relationship beyond sibling boundaries, and that he had been the support that helped her move forward throughout those years. She had convinced herself he was like a brother to her, but the way she looked at him as he grew taller and more manly weakened that conviction. Then Akira confessed his love and desire to marry her, to which she calmly responded that he should wait because they are still young, and that starting as a young couple was the most suitable option. Afterward, Akira returned home feeling like the happiest person in the world, congratulated by his AI, although he knew the real challenge had just begun. Years passed until Toa decided to clarify the truth about robots, and as protests crowded the streets against her, she chose to hold a press conference to address the questions and concerns. She presented the LC project as a plan for human development through integrating AI devices into the body with bioelectronic technologies, enabling each person to connect with AI 24/7 through a supporting network, relying on collaboration from leading minds in various fields. She acknowledged that some people remained hesitant about these measures, but assured everyone that there was nothing to worry about, promising to provide additional details about safety soon. Suddenly, a young man rushed onto the stage with a weapon aimed at her, accusing her of betraying humanity and daring to challenge the will of the creator, demanding that she apologize and die. At that moment, Akira dashed in front of her to shield her, but the attacker, as he fell, fired 2 shots that struck Akira himself. He fell to the ground, apologizing for what happened, then lost consciousness only to awaken, as if reborn, discovering that the world around him was in complete ruin. Thus, the first episode ended, and after moments passed, Akira still couldn't believe what he saw, his eyes wandering the desolate surroundings, until he spotted a distant girl watching him steadily and calling him by name, leading him to think that what he was experiencing was nothing but a dream. Akira still felt the pain of the fall with a slight dizziness, but everything around him seemed unreal, raising his thoughts about what was happening to him. He remembered emerging from something resembling a capsule, perhaps a medical device, but he wasn't sure. At that moment, he heard nearby voices and saw a man approaching with the same girl. Their conversation seemed strange and hard for him to understand, but he was astonished when the man referred to him as the Wise One. They explained that they came to the place after the earthquake that shook the ruins. Akira attempted to stand, but his body was weak, and he fell, darkness weighing on his sight. After a moment, he heard the female voice again, and when he opened his eyes, he found himself transported inside a cart, struggling to sit up and thanking them for their help, thinking to himself that they were mistaken as he was just Akira. The man introduced himself as the leader of one of the nearby villages, revealing that the girl was his daughter, Ida. They informed him that people considered him wise because he was found sleeping inside the capsule, and since then the whole village had revered him for what they believed to be knowledge and wisdom. They mentioned that the Wea system always oversees those ruins and ensures that he remains under care, but Akira didn't understand anything. Turning his thoughts to Toa, he worried about her safety when he heard the name of the place they were heading to. Suddenly, a strong memory hit him of a place he would visit with her and his father, but the memory morphed into pain as he saw the destruction around him, intensifying the headache in his head, forcing him to lie down, wishing that what he was seeing was just a nightmare. Later, he woke up in a simple house, greeted warmly by a woman who seemed happy to see him standing. He asked where he was, and she replied that he was in her home and invited him to rest, which he thanked her for gratefully. Hours passed with conversation and food, but the present company was stunned by his mentions of things from a time that no longer existed. When he asked how long they thought he had been asleep, no one knew the answer, as they were merely villagers ignorant of history. However, they said they needed to inform Wea about everything. Akira was surprised and inquired about that entity, and they explained that it was the system ruling the world now, as there were no countries left. They had been abolished to be replaced by this authority that ended wars and established what is described as lasting peace. This news shocked him, as some men insisted on immediately reporting it for fear of punishment, recalling that people had been punished for hiding ancient artifacts. However, Giles felt that Akira had just woken up and was not yet aware of the reality of the world in which he found himself, and Tavina agreed, suggesting it was best to help him acclimate before making any decisions. Akira was impressed by everyone's adherence to this opinion. As night fell, most of them went to sleep, but he couldn't close his eyes as questions raced through his mind. He stepped outside to breathe the air, feeling the warmth of summer, and saw the glimmering lights of villages in the distance, filling his heart with sorrow as tears flowed silently as he thought of Toa, until he spotted the same girl watching him from a tower. In the morning, he resolved to talk to Ida seeking answers. They went together to the market, where he noticed that goods and ways of dealing resembled those from the 18th century, and he saw money being exchanged, concluding that its value was determined by Wea. He asked her about a place to find books, and she took him to a school, while another girl followed them, pretending to shop. Akira browsed some children's books but found no benefit in them, so he asked if there was a way to contact WIA directly. She showed signs of anger and expressed her hatred for that entity, describing it as violent and tyrannical. At that moment, they witnessed a celebration inside a church, and he asked what was happening. She replied it was a union similar to a marriage, but he noticed noticed everyone present was female, increasing his confusion. He asked about the nature of this ceremony, and she clarified it was a kind of social bond entirely different from what he had known in his time. The union's climate that Akira witnessed involved 3 or 4 or more women without specifying gender, where links were formed between wealthy families in the form of groups. According to Ida's father, the WIA system punishes those who exceed the allowed number. Akira's astonishment grew when Ida told him that her family had a union that brought her mother together with 2 men. He fell into deep contemplation, and this cultural contrast awakened memories of Toa, the days they talked about the future, and the moment he had gifted her a ring that surprised her. His longing intensified in his chest. However, the present brought him back to reality when Tavarina came to summon him. They needed his skill, which they considered wisdom. He accompanied her to where a broken agricultural tractor lay. After inspecting it, he identified the problem and managed to fix it, stunning everyone as they thought it was beyond repair since the earthquake. But the villagers' joy was short-lived when the voice of one of the WIA envoys, named Canis, resonated, instilling panic among the villagers. He praised Akira's skill but announced that he would take him as an artifact belonging to Wea and could not treat him as one of the civilians. Some tried to prevent him, but he became enraged and shot the chief's foot, accusing him of betrayal for hiding news about Akira, declaring that he would also take his daughter as a witness. Tavarina strongly opposed this, but Canis sternly replied that he was just following orders. Those who reported the incident attempted to reason with him, saying that this wasn't the agreement, but the decision had already been made. As silence fell, Gaia declared his intention to submit a report. Canis dismissed him with contempt, considering his words weak excuses, then pointed an electric rod at his wound and shocked him, leaving the crowd stunned and unable to intervene. Hours later, Akira was in a cart, accompanied by Ida and Wei, with his head hung low, apologizing, convinced that what happened was his fault. When the cart stopped, Canis ordered the villagers to disembark while keeping the artifact inside it, then issued orders to kill all witnesses, and returned to the village to wipe out the remaining ones, having decided not to let anyone who knew about the artifact survive. Akira felt utterly powerless and regarded Canis as a monster, but the latter laughed, saying that everyone would obey him anyway. At that moment, Akira heard a voice ordering him to bow, and he complied before the cart exploded and was completely destroyed. Through the smoke, he saw the shape of a girl swiftly leaping at Canis and striking him with crushing force, knocking him towards the rubble. He roared angrily, threatening anyone who stood in his way, while Akira stood there, his mind racing, wondering about her identity and why she saved him. She answered that she was still trapped in the reality of ancient Japan, asserting her ability to free them if they trusted her and accepted her offer. He had no choice but to yield to her plea, hoping for help, so she commanded them to find a safe place. Meanwhile, the soldiers opened fire, but an invisible shield deflected the bullets back at them, and the girl charged forward with wide strides towards the farther soldiers, dispatching them with swift and precise movements. The bullets did not touch her thanks to the protective barrier, leaving Akira and his companions dumbfounded by her power. She then returned to Canis, calling him weak, which prompted him to try fleeing, further aggravating her. At that moment, Akira managed to move and struck one of the soldiers before he could shoot at her, but Canis reappeared inside the train, wielding a submachine gun. The girl evaded the bullets with astonishing agility until her body began to transform. She planted her feet firmly on the ground, and her hand morphed into a cannon, firing a bright beam that melted solid iron and penetrated a nearby mountain, leaving a massive crater. Akira gasped, muttering that she could not possibly be human, and she confirmed that, revealing her true identity as a robot named Yogur, deepening his confusion. She approached him calmly, stating that she owed him a debt of gratitude after making a promise, then removed her mask to reveal a face that matched Toa's, freezing Akira in shock. It appeared that Yogur insisted on marrying him, thus ending the day's summary. At that moment, the hero asked if she was from the Tawasa clan, but she denied it and introduced herself as Yogur, explaining that they should marry and share some proximity, leaving him in disbelief. He found it extremely surprising, but Yogur played a recording promising to do whatever he asked, which she seized with a confident smile, realizing that it was indeed what he wanted. She then revealed a ring, shocking him when it turned out to be the same one he had given to Tawasa, which seemed impossible, yet hints indicated that she knew her. Yogur coldly replied that that was confidential information, causing the hero to be even more astonished, since her movements resembled Tawasa's as well. Meanwhile, Eri, tears in her eyes, pointed at her father, while Akira felt the most crucial thing was to treat Wea's wound. After hours, everyone returned to the village, where the informant apologized with great remorse, declaring that all the blame lay with him. Akira understood the situation, pointing out that he recognized his motives and that he had wanted to save the village, reassuring him that he would not be blamed for anything, explaining that a will had been tracking him, and that it was best for him to leave to avoid bringing more trouble. Shortly after, everyone bid farewell, hoping to meet again to talk about the past as it was. When Akira asked her if she intended to follow him always, Yoga reminded him that he still had not answered the marriage proposal. He justified that he could not marry someone he did not know well, and she responded, smiling, that he needed to start getting to know her. He agreed, but warned her not to do anything weird, suggesting they go to the place where she had awakened to learn more. Since she was machine-made, he requested that she reveal any information she had, but she refused, saying that most of the data was classified, and that he would have to marry her if he wanted to access it. After a while, they reached a crumbling laboratory, and Akira regretted coming at night as darkness obscured his vision. Suddenly, Yoger pushed him forcefully toward a safe spot, covered his mouth, and whispered for him to stay silent, then activated a cloaking system to avoid being recognized, as a robot appeared that began to destroy part of the place. Yoger realized that the newcomer was Jacobo, who started scanning the lab with devices that sensed living beings, and Akira was shocked to see that both robots bore Yoger's features. One of them struck the debris where Edhai was hiding, causing Akira to panic, while Yoger urged him not to move so the girl wouldn't be harmed. The robots asked her why she was there, and if she knew about the envoy's murder, to which she acknowledged she was aware but could not disclose the killer's identity, because he saved her life, adding that she did not know where he was now. When they realized she was telling the truth, they grew angry at their failure to find their target and left. Akira then approached Edhai, asking why she was there. She explained that she had come to deliver a watch she found in that place. Akira saw a farewell message inside it from Tawasa, thanking him for everything, and saying he would always be the love of her life, but she had made many mistakes, and it was best not to look for her again. The recording ended with a sad goodbye, causing Akira's heart to sink as he realized that the message was recorded 200 years ago, meaning Tawasa might have died long ago. Nevertheless, he didn't lose hope, and decided to start searching for her from Tokyo, where they had lived. Yoger expressed enthusiasm, announcing that she would accompany him through thick and thin, making Akira sigh as he thought he hadn't intended to marry so quickly. Despite his hesitation, he felt he could trust Yoger, and decided it was time to continue the search for Tawasa. That night, he wondered about the girls who had appeared in the lab, and Yoger explained that they were leaders in special squads belonging to the oil organization, which controlled all technology and hunted them, but she couldn't say more because the information was classified. Out of curiosity, Akira asked why she was so eager to marry him despite knowing he was already engaged. She simply answered that engagement was not marriage, which gave her a chance to make him love her more than he loved Tawasa. With a determined look, she approached him and wrapped her arms around him, assuring him that she was designed to meet all human needs. His face flushed, and he asked her to stop, and she smiled, noticing that he called her by her name. The next day, they said goodbye to Edhai, and resumed their journey together until they reached the port, where they managed to board a small boat heading to the next city. During the crossing, they talked with the sailor, who asked about their destination. Akira responded that they were headed to Tokyo, and the man was surprised because the distance was very far. Upon their arrival, Akira noticed that the city had changed a lot from what he remembered, and while he was walking through the streets, he bumped into a girl, causing her belongings to fall and her mat to break. He apologized, feeling sorry, and promised to buy her another one. Meanwhile, Yoger examined the girl's items and was astonished to see a book in her hands. The girl, introducing herself as Amuro, explained that it was her favorite book. After a while, Akira returned with a new mat, but was surprised when the vendor gave them extra money. When the store owner noticed this, he got angry and accused Akira of cheating, pushing him violently and complaining that the item was a broken red gear. Yoger quickly pulled Akira away to avoid the fight. Akira asked her what the red gear meant, and she explained that it was a term used for humans who had lost their rights, as the organization turned criminals and debtors into workers controlled by internal chips in exchange for shelter and food. Akira was shocked, while Yoger noticed his excessive compassion and advised him to stay away from anything related to that organization. Despite that, he offered the new mat to Amaro, who thanked him and asked about their destination. He told her they were heading to Mount Or, and she was surprised, explaining that the road had many checkpoints, then offered to help, saying she knew a safe alternative route. The three continued walking through various paths, with Amaro sketching in her notebook even while walking, which impressed Akira. Along the way, Yoger noticed a strange symbol engraved on the girl's back. After hours, when they stopped to eat, Akira thanked Yoger for the catch and praised her accuracy, then asked her about the source of her energy. She showed him the glowing core in her chest that provided her with continuous energy, so she didn't need food, but she admitted she ate for pleasure. When he leaned closer, questioning her, she warned him with a serious look that he was responsible for everything he touched. The scene was truly astonishing, but she seemed to enjoy the boy's embarrassment. While talking with Amaro, he knew that the book she carried was prohibited, so he promised not to take it from her and that he just wanted to take a look at it. At that moment, Amaro revealed that the book belonged to her parents, who were painters, and that was why she wanted to draw to preserve their legacy. She was moved by his words, which ignited her determination to pursue her dream. The next day, they arrived in the city, and Akira was worried about Oil's guards, but Yoger reassured him that she did not recognize their faces, so they could enter without much difficulty. He was astonished that everything went smoothly in an unexpected way, at which point Yoger revealed that she had lived like this for 150 years, and that in that moment, she felt a bit hungry, so they headed to the food stalls. Akira was amazed at the sight of her devouring the dishes voraciously. Still, Akira admitted that he didn't like seeing people forced to scratch themselves everywhere out of extreme deprivation, to which Yoger responded that he would have to get used to it since the concept of justice had changed over time. As he stood up to buy more food, he was surrounded by some guards pointing their weapons at him, warning Yoger that any movement from her would make him pay dearly. They seized him when a strange man approached, introducing introducing himself as Marlin, announcing that he had prior information about the boy and the mechanical creature resembling Joy Yomi, and ordered them to surrender. Amaro rushed towards Marlin, who greeted her, thanking her for her work and clarifying that the RAR had completely fooled them. The girl instantly regretted her action. Marlin promised to return her parents' books, speaking as if he had kept his promise, then unleashed a harsh smile, revealing that the banned books had been burned long ago and no longer existed, claiming he was sorry for lying but had to do so. He threw her to the ground and ordered the guards to inflict the same punishment that her parents faced, adding that the robot would be taken with him to ensure a major promotion for himself. At that moment, Amaro attacked him in anger, striking him hard, while Yogurt took advantage of the chaos to pull Akira away, and in seconds, they had escaped the place. Marlin's anger flared at losing his target as he kicked Amaro, accusing her of ruining everything. But he was taken aback to see she still held the book, which the guards ripped from her and set on fire while she cried and screamed in anguish, watching her parents' remnants turn to ash. Meanwhile, Bruta told Yogurt they needed to return to save the girl, but she refused, reminding him that the girl had betrayed them and mocked them. Akira stuck to his belief that Amaro had been deceived and couldn't grasp what she had done, insisting that leaving her alone would be unjust, feeling guilty for having encouraged her before to pursue her dream without realizing the consequences. However, Yogurt pointed out that she had principles she couldn't overlook, asking him if he would marry her if she succeeded in saving Muro, which angered him as he declared she was nothing but a machine without feelings, leaving Yogurt visibly shocked. In a dark, sealed room, Amuro was chained, trembling with fear, calling out to her parents in a hoarse, desperate voice. Outside, Akira struggled to open the door, working tirelessly until he finally managed to break in, only to be shocked by the sight of Amuro bound before him. She froze in disbelief at seeing him, realizing he had risked his life for her, yet she feared that doing so might destroy him. As they tried to escape, she confessed that she had hidden something from him and Yugori, but Akira didn't seem to care about her lies, which left her confused. While they were fleeing, 2 guards spotted them and sounded the alarm. The 2 ran as fast as they could, Akira doing everything possible to save her, even hurling his dagger at one of the guards to buy them some time, while Yugori watched from afar without them noticing. Once they reached outside, a man was waiting for them, laughing maniacally, as if he had predicted their attempt. In that moment of distraction, the guards ambushed Amuro from behind and grabbed her. Akira tried to rescue her and was beaten, but he fought off one of the guards before being handcuffed. Instead of retreating to help Amuro, he rushed at the man and struck him. The man flew into a rage, furious that a commoner had dared to attack him, and ordered his men to subdue Akira. They held him down while the man beat him mercilessly. Seeing Akira tortured because of her broke Amuro's heart, she pleaded with them to release him, offering herself instead. Akira cut her off firmly, urging her not to give up on her pursuit of her parents' storybook. It was her greatest dream. She trembled in surprise, not expecting such words from him, realizing he truly understood and believed in her wish to become an illustrator for storybooks. The man grew even angrier and ordered one of his guards to aim his gun at Amuro, preparing to shoot. Akira could only scream, begging them to stop hurting her. At that point, Yugori couldn't stand watching anymore. She charged in like a storm, kicking away the guards, restraining Akira and Amuro until only the man was left standing. He didn't run as they expected. Instead, he ordered his men to attack her. She countered with a single powerful strike that knocked them all down. Terrified by her strength, they backed away. The man pulled out his weapon and opened fire, but Yugori deflected the bullets, protecting Akira and Amuro. He froze in disbelief, and before he could escape, she kicked him hard, sending him tumbling into a deep pit, where he was left crying for help. Meanwhile, Amuro watched the battle in awe of Yugori's mechanical abilities. After the fight ended, Akira bowed before Yugori, thanking her for saving them even though it broke her own rules. She explained that what she did was in line with her mission, which was why she stepped in. Akira remained deeply grateful to her. The next day, Yugori gave Amuro some items she had obtained from the administration clothes and drawing books. Akira gave Amuro some privacy to change, and while helping her, Yugori removed the scars on her back. Amuro thanked her and asked her to erase the emblem printed beneath her body. Yugori warned her it would be painful, but Amuro insisted, so she replaced it with an artistic design instead. Akira admired Yugori's skill and asked about her abilities. She explained how it worked, while Amuro, full of excitement, didn't finish dressing before expressing her wish to start illustrating stories with them. Yugori agreed to have her join, and Akira approved, promising to follow wherever she wished. He then urged her to hurry and get dressed so they could leave. The 3 set off toward Amuro's hometown. When they arrived, they heard someone calling out that there was one room available for rent. Akira hoped to get it so he could take a bath after the long journey. But before they could approach, Amuro spotted guards stationed near the corner of the building. Looking around, she realized that the Fika season had begun a time of union festivals. She explained that they didn't need those celebrations since they already shared the same path and fate. At the mention of the Fika festival, Yugori's expression changed with jealousy, and she declared before Amuro that she was Akira's partner, insisting they were lovers. Amuro denied it vehemently. Feeling the tension rising, Akira stepped in to clarify that he was traveling in search of a woman named Tawasa, whom he loved deeply and had dedicated his life to. Even so, Amuro suggested that they could still stay together even after he found that woman. woman. Yugori decided to test her feelings in a different way. She knew she loved Akira, but wanted to attend the festival to see if her heart might sway toward someone else. If it didn't, she'd be certain of her true love for him. Akira didn't seem eager to encourage the idea, but before he could respond, Amuro had already agreed, leaving him no chance to object. That night, Calcrame, who aspired to lead the Lano family, held a meeting with Major Yamabuki, who was there to deliver money. Calcrame showed him some stored weapons, and Yamabuki examined them, asking whether they were meant for defense or preparation for an upcoming war. During their conversation, a group of men suddenly burst in, and the guards jumped to fight them until they realized the men belonged to Lady Fidus. They immediately stopped. Fidus entered, apologizing for the disruption her men caused, introducing herself as the eldest daughter of the Lontano family. She explained that she came rushing when she heard their guests were in danger. Her words left the major stunned and confused. Fidus revealed that one of Calcrame's men was a spy and declared she would deal with him herself as the next heir to the family. The man was identified and handcuffed. Furious, he shouted that they only recognized Calcrame as their leader. He lunged at Fidus to attack her, but Calcrame quickly shot him to stop the chaos. After the incident, Fidus left, instructing her chief guard to wrap up the remaining matters. Some of those present began wondering about the relationship between Fidus and Calcrame. One man explained that they were half-siblings. Their father had 10 children, but 8 had been killed in a bloody conflict, leaving only Fidus and Calcrame alive. The father, who held the position of clan leader, had planned to leave many heirs, but with only 2 survivors, he was uncertain about who would succeed him. The next morning, the head of the Lano family summoned Calcrame and Fidus and announced that he didn't care who took leadership. He only wanted the one most worthy of the responsibility. Therefore, he ordered both to participate in the Fika festival and choose partners to prove their commitment. Fidus promised her father she would find her partner at the festival, while Calcrame thought she was rushing into it. At the same time, Amuro and Yugori were preparing to attend the festival that evening, while Akira declared he didn't want to go, so they went without him. Later, Akira stepped outside for some fresh air and overheard a group of men excitedly talking about 2 people named Fidus and Calcrame coming to the festival. His curiosity was piqued to learn who they were. A woman from a nearby shop noticed him and told him that Fidus and Calcrame were heirs of the Lontano family, the most powerful family in town, which ruled over the whole region. Akira was stunned and uneasy after hearing this, realizing how important those 2 were. Meanwhile, Amuro and Yugori arrived at the festival. Amuro hurried to meet her old friends from town, greeted them warmly, and explained why she had come, even though the idea had been hers in the first place. Yugori, on the other hand, easily blended into the crowds, chatting and enjoying the lively, vibrant atmosphere. After hearing about Fidus and Calcrame, Akira decided to head to the festival as well. He dressed properly and slipped in through the blooming trees to avoid drawing attention. His only goal was to make sure Amuro and Yugori were safe, even if from afar. At the festival, Fidus became the center of attention. Men lined up before her, hoping she'd choose one of them as her partner, but none met her standards. Bored and irritated, she left, wishing she'd find someone truly worthy of her. As night fell and the festival lights glimmered, Amuro spotted Akira hiding nearby. She felt a rush of relief and happiness, assuming he'd come out of concern for her. He admitted her safety was one reason for coming, though not the only one. Later, as he walked through the crowded passage, he accidentally bumped into Fidus, spilling some of her drink onto her dress. He quickly apologized, trying to find something to wipe the stain, and when his eyes caught her insignia, he realized who she was, Fidus herself. Flustered, he tried to step away before things got worse, but she grabbed his hand, stopping him. Intrigued by his calmness and composed manner, she insisted on speaking with him privately and pulled him aside. Amuro saw them together, nervously intervening to apologize on Akira's behalf, saying his behavior was just a remnant of an older time. Akira froze in disbelief that she revealed such a thing, while Fidus grew intrigued, shocked that someone from a bygone era could still be alive. Akira explained that his survival was made possible by a scientific procedure that kept his body preserved in a long state of stasis, and that he had recently awakened after an earthquake damaged the device. Fidus listened attentively, sensing he was telling the truth, and began to admire him. She then asked him to consider pairing with her during the festival, saying she was starting to believe the rumors about people like him. Amuro tensed, uneasy with the idea, but Fidus continued, assuring Akira she would protect him from the owls, the group hunting him. Akira was taken aback by her bold proposal, not expecting someone of her high status to make such an offer. She pointed toward a nearby man and introduced him as her half-brother, Calcrame, explaining that they were locked in an ongoing rivalry over the family's succession. While Akira tried to process her words, Calcrame suddenly knelt before Yugori, announcing his wish to be paired with her in front of everyone. Amuro gasped in shock, unable to believe what she was seeing. The whole scene was thrown into confusion. Even Fidus herself was stunned by her brother's sudden move. We moved to Eurus's house, and it seems that Calcroma found a wife for himself at the Fika festival, and is waiting for a new baby to join the family. But Calcroma thinks it's not the right time yet, while Eurus wants to secure the family's future completely. Then we move to Fides, who is brushing her horse. She tells herself that everyone is waiting for Calcroma's marriage, because that marriage is seen as a done deal. One of her guards comes to her, upset, wanting to tell her something, but she reminds him not to come near the stables again. Still, the man insists he has something important to tell her. Before he can speak, Fides tells him that she has finally found her own partner, so there's no need to worry. Next, we go to Yoguri's house, where Akira feels angry after Yoguri tells him she's going on a date with Kalchroma. Amori also doesn't agree with this, but Yoguri accepted Kalchroma's invitation because she wanted to have some reference, and that's all there is to it. After that, the door opens, and Kalchroma enters with an expensive bouquet of flowers. He approaches Yoguri and offers her the bouquet, leaving her surprised by the beauty and value of the flowers. She realizes it's a very expensive kind, and also learns that this type of flower symbolizes true love, something Kalchroma also knew and brought on purpose. This shocks Akira. Yoguri tells him that Kalchroma knows exactly what she likes. Then Akira asks Kalchroma about his real intentions and what he wants from Yoguri, but Kalchroma thinks Akira is Yoguri's fiancé, and Yoguri confirms it only for Akira to deny it. Kalchroma just smiles a little, which annoys Akira. He remembers the time he met Fides and thought they were connected. When he returns to the present, Fides arrives and calls out to Akira, inviting him on a date as well. She asks him to go with her, though Akira doesn't know where. Fides then explains that he's now her chosen marriage partner, and that she's taking him on a proper date. Yoguri and Amori are both shocked and approach Akira, asking him to tell them everything. But Akira only says it happened because of a small incident. Akira then asks Fides if she's being serious, but Fides says she has no time for games. Kalchroma congratulates Fides for finding her marriage partner, and suggests they all go on a date together. It's also a good chance to spy on their enemies. They leave the house, and Amori is impressed by Kalchroma's car and loves its color. Kalchroma tells her he has some influence that gives him supplies and information from Tokyo. This surprises Akira, who immediately asks him how Tokyo is and if he knows anything about it. But Kalchroma doesn't give away anything for free, and doesn't tell him easily either. They get into the car and drive off. Arriving at the market, someone is watching them from afar. Yoguri stops at a jewelry shop and admires a piece there. Kalchroma asks if he can buy her a necklace as a gift. Akira watches them from a distance, observing how Kalchroma acts with Yoguri. Fides approaches Akira and asks what's distracting him, then hands him some gifts to carry. Akira doesn't think this really feels like a date. Then Amori walks over to Akira and says they shouldn't have agreed to come along, but Akira has his reasons he didn't want to leave Yoguri alone with Kalchroma. Fides was the first person he met who already knew something. He looks at Fides and notices she's not doing great either. He tells himself that even blood relatives can marry each other, though he finds that very uncomfortable. He remembers something similar with a friend of his, but then snaps back to the present, still unable to do anything, which worries Amori. Fides then calls out to Akira again, and he moves toward her quickly. Yoguri, meanwhile, is distracted by Akira, but Kalchroma tries to divert her attention away from him and tells her that their chat date has just begun and she shouldn't worry about anything. Yoguri gestures that they should move somewhere a bit more private. She walks ahead, and Kalchroma follows. When they reach an empty spot, Yoguri asks why he made it a double date when that wasn't part of their plan. Kalchroma replies that she wants her fiancé to feel jealous of her, so she has to make him see them in a situation together to spark that jealousy. Yoguri thinks that's a good point, though Kalchroma didn't expect Fides to show up. Yoguri tells him that Fides is now her #1 enemy, even though she knows she's his sister. Kalchroma says what's happening now is fine, and that their plan is moving in the right direction. Then Kalchroma remembers the past, the time he met Yoguri at a party when she was drunk and bumped into her. He offered to get someone to help her, but she refused, saying she didn't need help from anyone. She wondered who he thought he was. Was it because he was an android? This surprises Kalchroma, who says with astonishment, "Android?" He looks at her closely and asks what an android is doing in a place like that. Yoguri replies that she came to the party to prove to her fiancé that her love is real. When Kalchroma hears this, he wants to understand the whole story from the beginning and learn everything about her. When they return to the present, he tells her he thinks they need a little excitement in their story. But Yoguri asks Kalchroma what he's really trying to achieve after he already proposed to her, and now this fake date. Kalchroma says it's all pointless, that the relationship between a human and an android isn't realistic. Still, if such a relationship ever works, he wants to witness it himself. Then we shift to Amori, who's amazed by the painting colors she finds. Akira buys her a set, and Fides asks what he's going to buy for her too. Akira gives her flowers, which she deeply admires. Then Yoguri comes up to Akira, feeling jealous about how he treats Fides. But Akira asked Yoguri where she had been, but Yoguri didn't answer him, and told him that it didn't concern him. Then Akira suggested going somewhere else, and they moved to a big library in the city center. But Kalchroma thought that reading books on a date was boring, while Amori believed that many of her father's stories were stored in that place. Akira also had some research he wanted to finish. He found a very important book and picked it up, but Fides told him that a book like that wouldn't help him at all, and that the law book he had wasn't very credible. Then they left the library. Amori was surprised to see an alley in front of them, and thought there must be many like it, so she ran into it. They followed her, but she didn't appear, so they started searching for her everywhere. However, Fides didn't want to do this. She said it wasn't her business, and that what she was doing was hopeless, and would just take her backward. Then she remembered when they were kids playing hide and seek, and how they were always found because of Kalchroma. Fides told Kalchroma he always cried and gave them away, and also told him that when she grew up and became the boss, she'd always keep him safe. She came back to the present and found Calchroma in front of her. Calchroma asked Fides what she was doing, but Fides told him she wasn't doing anything, left him, and walked away. But before she disappeared, Calchroma reminded Fides how they used to play hide and seek as kids, which made her stop and listen. While they were talking, Akira was looking for Amori and saw them talking, thinking they were having a moment together. Then Yuguri found Amori, and they headed toward Akira to tell him she was fine, but Akira told them to be quiet. Then we go back to Fides, who asked Calchroma what was with those nostalgic moments. Calchroma said he just wanted to remind her of their past, and picked up a big piece of cloth, placing it over her shoulders so she'd remember their days together. But Fides walked away and told him she didn't remember anything. Akira and the others had heard everything, and Akira said to himself that they were troublesome, and that there was something between them, but he couldn't fully understand it. Then he looked at Yuguri's necklace, and asked if she really needed to wear it. Yuguri felt Akira was jealous, but Akira denied it, and told her that even if he were jealous, she still didn't understand the meaning of love yet. Yuguri told Akira she did all this with Calchroma to test him and to fully understand what was going on in his head. Then, angry, Yuguri asked Akira if he was going to marry Fides. Amori also stepped forward and asked Akira, but he told them he wouldn't, and that he was engaged to Tawasa. Then Akira asked Yuguri if she would marry Calchroma, but she answered that it remained to be seen, which shocked everyone. Then they drove off again, but on the way, the car tire got damaged. Akira fixed it, and Calchroma asked if he could really do it. Akira said he learned from his father, but when Calchroma was young, he was taught only one thing to devote his whole life to the family. Akira then asked Calchroma if he was serious about Yuguri. Calchroma said he found Yuguri attractive. Akira asked because they were traveling together, but Calchroma was surprised that this was all Akira cared about. Then Akira asked Calchroma about his relationship with Fides, and he said he couldn't pull everyone toward him. One of the tire tools dropped under the car, and Akira went underneath to pick it up. Akira told Calchroma that he didn't have any feelings for Fides, but Calchroma said he didn't care who Fides chose to be with. However, he warned Akira that if he ever broke her heart, he'd kill anyone who did that. Akira then realized that Calchroma was deeply in love with Fides, and told him so. Then we switched to the girls. Yuguri said that love was a mysterious thing. Amori said that Yuguri was still searching for her true love, while for Fides, it wasn't really important. But while they were loading cargo boxes, an accident almost killed one of the dock workers. Yuguri reacted quickly, and saved him effortlessly, which frightened someone watching from afar, who then hid. Amori was shocked by Yuguri's speed, and Fides was confused by what had happened. Fides then discovered that Yuguri was an android, and that she couldn't have children with Calchroma, which meant their marriage would be meaningless. She wondered what Calchroma was thinking too. Then Calchroma and Akira arrived to check on them. Calchroma asked what had happened, and Fides pointed to the accident scene and told Calchroma that he had now found what he was looking for. Then she left. Akira told Calchroma to go after Fides, but Calchroma told Akira that he should go after her instead, because Akira would be her life partner. While running, Fides remembered her memories with Calchroma, their childhood arguments about who would be the boss, and their shared tears, until she returned to the present. Then Akira arrived, and Fides thought Akira was a good man for following her. She confessed to Akira that Calchroma would make a better boss than her. He was skilled, charming, and had a big heart. Any child unfit for leadership would be thrown to the wolves, but he cared for them all, managing jobs and supporting them. She told Akira that she had to become the boss since she was the Lantano family head, though it was painful for such a kind man like him. Then we moved to Yoris's house, where his bodyguard informed him that Yuguri was an android. Yoris wasn't comfortable leaving Calchroma single for too long. He wanted to bring him into the Lantano family, and wanted to get him before Oil did. Then we went to a restaurant. Calchroma told Yuguri that the restaurant belonged to them, and said it was the perfect ending for a double date. Then he asked Yuguri if she would marry him, which shocked Akira and Amori, and made Fides feel sad. But Yuguri refused to marry Calchroma because she thought it would be confirming love artificially, realizing that he needed to prove his true love on his own. Akira thought to himself that in this age, nothing should stop people from having the kind of relationship they wanted. Then he asked if everything was going well, and told them they needed to talk about it. Suddenly, Yoris appeared with a large group of men, and demanded that Calchroma hand over Yuguri. He also said he knew there was chemistry between them, and assumed that Calchroma didn't want to have children, planning instead to kill Yoris and take over the family. Calchroma tried to defend himself, but Yoris interrupted, saying that the android and the weapons Calchroma had bought were from Oil's army, and that it was a pity because he had high hopes for them. Calchroma told Yoris that the weapons were just for precaution and the android too. Then Fides asked Calchroma, "So you weren't fighting me?" Calchroma answered, "Of course not." A gun was thrown to Fides, and Yoris ordered her to kill Calchroma to become the next boss. Calchroma told Fides to do it so they wouldn't all be killed, but Akira begged her not to. Then Calchroma grabbed the gun from Fides and pointed it toward Yoris, which made Yoris furious. He asked Fides if she was planning to betray the family too, but Calchroma told Yoris that the family he was talking about was his own. No one stood by Yoris, not even his own children. children, and then he fired, hitting one of Yoris's men. Yoris ordered his men to stop the android and said he didn't care about anyone else's life. Then Yuguri woke up but was tipsy. She told them that if they were going to fight, they should at least take it outside. Yoris ordered his men to attack, saying that Yuguri wasn't in her best condition and was drunk. That angered Yuguri, who, at the word drunk, released a thick white smoke and activated her drunken mode, saying that androids had the right to have some fun from time to time. She threatened them, but there was someone secretly aiming at her. Akira noticed this, ran forward to save her, and took the bullet instead. The bullet almost hit Yuguri, but it didn't, and Akira fell unconscious to the ground.